Kelsey, thank you so much for joining us today. And the reason we've got you on is to talk about bereavement and how we find it increasingly difficult to talk about bereavement in this country. Why do you think that is?
Well, I'm actually just sat at Tower Bridge with an elephant in the room because that is what it feels like when we talk about bereavement and we talk about grief and we talk about loss and we talk about funerals. It's that elephant in the room. People don't want to have these conversations. And I think we need to tackle these conversations head on.
It's a literal elephant, isn't it, to sort of signpost this campaign. There's been, research is about to be being done, isn't it, to ask an awful lot of people across the country, what they need help with when we talk about this issue. Tell us a little bit about this research.
We just want people to head over to the Co-op website and fill in the survey to see where people are at with grief. And, for me, I lost my partner 18 months ago, and I've spoken a lot about grief, and I'm quite honest and open about the subject. But I know not a lot of people are the same as me.
Why are you so open then? How has it helped you being open, being able to discuss what you and your family went through?
I think for me, it's been part of my journey to be that honest and open, and it has massively helped me speaking to, I talk about my village of people, my friends, my family. Like, I've been so fortunate to have all them people in my lives to speak about my loss and my journey of grief.
Your husband obviously was in the Wanted. He had a very public persona. Did that help in many ways?
It definitely helped with support and encouragement for him, even when he was here. And then when he died, it then gave me that positive, that love, that support from fans.
How has it helped then with your children? You've still got two young children, being able to talk and discuss, because that must be a very, very difficult thing for them to comprehend, even that their dad isn't coming back. How have you approached it with them?
Well, to them, I was very matter of fact. So when Tom did die, I said, Daddy's dead. He's not coming back. And the only time we'll see him now is when we then die. But Aurelia she's 4. She's a bit of the elephant in the room because she'll go into environments where people obviously don't want to bring up her dad, and she'll say, "Do you know my dad's dead? My dad had a brain tumor." Like, she's very matter of fact, and why can't we go back to that child, like, say and say what's on our mind?
We use a lot of euphemisms, don't we? That's incredible to hear her talking so frankly about what happened, but that's obviously because you've been very frank with her. Do you think it helps that we keep it at arm's length? We say passed away and passed on. We don't use the language that you've just used.
I think it's really important, the language, because I was afraid that if I used, "Look, Daddy's gone to sleep," well, are they going to then be scared to go to sleep? Like, I think saying that Daddy's dead, he's not coming back. And also with Tom's job, he traveled a lot with work. So, I needed to explain to the kids that he will not be coming back this time, and he has gone.
Why do you think it is that we find it so hard? And what kind of shift do you think needs to happen for us as a society? Because we're quite unusual, aren't we? Maybe we're quite repressed in how we share our emotions publicly. Do you think there's that to factor in? Why are we so squeamish when it comes to talking about this?
I don't know. I just think we're so British and it's such a taboo subject. I mean, even the way people probably look at me, a 33-year-old widow, like how I should be, how people see that I should have the veil on and still wearing black when, I'm out here wearing pink and I'm talking about all things grief and death. So, I just think we need to challenge these topics, and we're doing it with other topics that we all shied away from. So let's just, the thing we're guaranteed in this lifetime is that we are going to die. That's the one thing that we all share the same. So let's talk about it, let's embrace it, and then let's the people that are left behind, they can then put the plans in place that you want for your funeral or your wishes and your dreams.
Your husband Tom died from glioblastoma. It's a topic we've been talking about a lot on 5 Live Drive in the last days. A member of our team lost his wife to this horrible disease, and we've kind of unpicked a lot of you know, the research or lack of it that goes into glioblastoma. The majority of people under 40 and children die from brain tumors, but there's a very, very comparatively small amount of funding goes into research. I mean, I guess that's something you discovered too, but what needs to change on that front?
Well, I was shocked. Obviously, when Tom was diagnosed, I was absolutely shocked that brain tumors receive 1% of funding, but they're the biggest killers in under 40s. You know, I'm just here to spread awareness really, because I just felt, you know, standard of care not being changed. Like, how are we just still giving chemo and radio? There needs to be more for these people.
Why do you think it is, you know, sort of this imbalance in funding when, you know, again, when you said that the biggest killer, a cancer killer of people under 40 and children is a brain tumor. Why do you think it is? Is it just a lack of visibility? What's going wrong on that front?
I just think as well, it's in the brain. Not a lot passes over the blood-brain barrier. Our bodies are designed to protect our brains, but then people are getting tumors in their brains. How do they tackle these tumors? But you know, there's stuff that's still in phase 2 of trial, and that's almost been like 3 years that's still in phase 2 of trial. Like, let's get these trials through. Let's let's push forward and get some real, like, well, there is evidence, but we just we need more needs to be done. It makes me really passionate when I talk about it.
You sound it, and understandably so, because Tom, from the point of diagnosis to his death was just 20 months. You must have been on a huge learning curve in that 20 months.
Yeah, and I feel like I had to go and research. Like, there was nothing, you know, they just gave me the standard of care. This is the chemo, this is the radio. I had to go and find, you know, alternatives out there to help him, which I do believe the alternatives we did helped Tom, because on prognosis, they would have probably only given him a few weeks probably to live, but he did have, you know, 18 months. So, but I had to go and actively find that research, and I sort of became a doctor, and I'd stay up till 4 o'clock in the morning researching, and had 2 babies at home.
This is what we hear a lot when we asked our listeners what they were going through as well. And so when you approach the medics and say, well, is that it? They say yes, but actually there's a lot more going on. So what else could happen, do you think? What kind of education process needs to happen?
You know, I think even down to the diet and what we're fueling our bodies with. And for me, it's like now how I bring my kids up and what I treat them with. It's that, you know, it's so difficult because it's when you get into that position where there's, you know, really there's no more that they can do for you, is when you go, oh, what else can I do? So it's, you know, the preventive stages for everyone. What we fuel our bodies with is so important.
How is life now for you? You sound very passionate. You sound very engaged, understandably, in this latest campaign, but it must have been a huge period of adjustment. How are you coping?
Yeah, I had the kids, and I think the kids have definitely helped me get through this, and they've pushed me forward. And, you know, for me, I just live each day. We're not all guaranteed tomorrow. So yeah, live for the day, really.
Is that awful trauma that your family have been through, losing your husband in the way that you did, has it given you a different outlook, a different approach to life?
It definitely has given me a different approach. Like, sometimes we worry and get upset about the smallest little things in life, but they're not that important.
And what would you say to anybody listening to this? Because there's many people we know listening to Drive who are going through a similar thing to the journey that your family went on over the last couple of years. What would you say to them?
Try and be strong, try and be brave, but also just do you and do what feels right for you. And don't have any pressure around however you grieve, however you're dealing with a trauma. You just do you.
And for people who are grieving at the moment and finding it a very difficult journey to navigate, what would your advice be to them?
But again, it would be the same advice. Like, if you feel like you can't get out of bed in the morning, don't get out of bed in the morning. If you feel like you do want to skip round and be really elated, then do that. Do what's right for you. There's no rule book or handbook to grief. You just live with the grief and the love forever. So it's how you deal with that.
Kelsey, thank you so much for joining us on 5 Live Drive. We really appreciate it.